Hello and welcome to my review of Attack on Titan chapter 121, 10-year anniversary, people. Big chapter. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Review, not reaction. What's up with that? Well, let me just quickly explain. If you want to go straight to the review, then go to this time code. But if you actually want to, hear me out and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing for this chapter, then just stick around. It'll only take a minute, don't worry. So, I've been out of the loop with Attack on Titan for the past month. I've had a very busy month, and I basically haven't been involved in the community at all. I haven't been on Reddit, I haven't been on any of the Discord servers. It's basically been like Attack on Titan hasn't even existed for the past month. And so I click, and because I've been very busy, and so yesterday when the chapter came out, my dog was put down because of a brain tumour, and so I was kind of not in the best mood, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't get to sleep, and I thought, well, I need something to do, so let's look up to see if the Attack on Titan chapter is coming out anytime soon. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to read some theories about what's going to happen. And I thought, it's the 5th of the month, so no way the chapter's going to be out already. And I check, and the chapter's been out for 2 hours, and that is ridiculously lucky on my part, because it was a total coincidence that I decided to check. I was not going to start checking to see if the chapter was out until the 6th, because it sometimes even the spoilers don't even come out until then, let alone the actual chapter. So it caught me off guard. So not only have I been kind of out of Attack on Titan and not really thinking about it for the past month, which means I wasn't really in an Attack on Titan mindset when I read it, but also it wasn't a particularly good day either, so I was kind of in a bad mood and not particularly happy. I still really enjoyed the chapter, and I still recorded my reaction to it, but it just wasn't as good as it could have been. And so I decided that rather than... I filmed my reaction, and by the time I finished, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was tired and kind of stressed out. And I figured if I just uploaded the reaction as is, as I've done for the last few chapters, it would probably get like 3,000 views, like the last few chapters have for me. But I wouldn't be satisfied with the quality of the video. And at the end of the day, I don't make videos for the views. I make videos because I enjoy making videos. I have other methods of making money. I don't need to rely on trying to get tons of views so I can start monetizing my videos. That's not what I'm here for. And so I decided, rather than just rushing out the video and getting out something that I would be disappointed with, I decided to go to sleep, wake up in the morning, record my review of the chapter, and then do what I did with chapter 118, which is where I do a review but mix in my reaction with it. Only this time I'll put in more of my reaction. So you'll still get to see my reaction. It just will be mixed in with my review. And it should be mentioned that, like I said, I did my reaction at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was very tired. So I was sitting quite close to the mic and speaking quite quietly. So apologies for that. But anyway, I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get straight into this. Okay, Attack on Titan, chapter 100. Ignore that was nothing. Attack on Titan chapter 121. God damn, this couldn't have come out at a worse time. Oh my god. Stay still. I'm having to sit quite close to the mic and be very quiet. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could do it differently, but my family's had a very long day today, and I don't want to wake anyone up. So, I know nothing. Let's get into this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the translators. Your work is very much appreciated. Grisha loves you and is raising you freely. You were never brainwashed by your father. Zeke is like, he's not in denial at all at the moment. We'll see if he is in denial about his plan, though. We'll see. Eren, why do you refuse to end this fight? What do you intend to do with the Founder's power? Oh shit, are we actually going to get an answer now? We might get an answer now. He is answering. God damn, okay. Oh, I'm excited. I wish it wasn't 1 o'clock in the morning. But, I'm not that tired. It's everyone else I'm worried about, not me. Him with Mikasa. She's got a slightly bloodied lip, so this will presumably be right after she was rescued by Eren. Chapter... Oh, shit. Chapter 121. Future Memories. Damn. And I'm actually reading it correctly this time. I used to think you and I were the same, but I was wrong. If other people are going to steal my freedom, I'm going to steal theirs. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? And we see Eren. Look at that. Eren clearly does still care about Mikasa. I mean, that's not like a bombshell, right? Everyone thought that he still cares about Mikasa, but it's nice to have confirmation regardless. The power of the Founding Titan is in my hands. I can carry out the plan of euthanasia at any time. However, I'm not going to abandon you. Just like... Okay, so yeah, these translations are definitely a bit weird. Just like Xavier never abandoned me. Before saving the world, I want to save you. Is Zeke still... Yeah, he still wants to save Eren, but I'm curious what he wants to save Eren from exactly. Because he knows Eren isn't brainwashed. So... Like, obviously he wants Eren to agree with him, but he can't just show Eren memories and change his mind. He knows that now. So what is his plan? It won't work, whatever his plan is, presumably, but I'm just curious what it is. Yeah, let me see, yeah. We see a boy playing catch with a ball like Zeke and Xavier. Humanity has not perished. Zeke is reading the note. Wow, this is actually really cool. He wants to leave behind an impressive final message. Sorry, that's funny. The fact that Zeke's like, so he wasn't just happy with leaving behind a final message, he wanted to make it all impressive and shit. Anyway, it's always impressive when someone has the composition skill to have fractured, like, tiny little boxes all over the place, and yet they're still ordered in a way that allows you to follow them in the exact order they're meant to be followed in. Eren said that he wants to join the Survey Corps. Yeah. What are you thinking? Do you know just how much of humanity has died from going outside the walls? I know. Eren, why do you want to venture outside? Yeah, so this is reliving that scene from episode 1. I want to know what the world outside is like. I don't want to spend my entire life inside the walls without knowing a single thing. Also, if there is no one to continue from this point, the lives of everyone who died before us would go to waste. Oh, wow. Definitely putting in more work in Grisha's expression there. It's more than just the vaguely interested expression he had originally, in the anime at least. I never read this part of the manga. Hold on there. Yeah, we see Zeke watching. Yeah. So in a way, they've turned this on its head from Zeke trying to show Eren what Grisha is really like, to Eren showing Zeke what Eren is really like through Grisha. Holy shit. Hold on, Grisha. Convince Eren not to join you. Eren. Oh my god. Yeah, Eren and Grisha are 100% looking at each other here. It's not even, like, you can't even deny it. They are looking at each other. When I return, the basement that I've kept secret all this time, I'll show you inside. Oh my god, this is awesome. Oh my god, that's actually amazing. I feel like I'd get along well with that girl. Oh, that's actually kind of hilarious, I'm not gonna lie. Like, is that fan service? Can that be counted as fan service? I feel like I'd get along well with that girl. That's an amazing line, I love that. Oh, I can't. For me to kill children, oh shit. That's... Wow, so he couldn't do it. Well, that adds a whole new perspective to Eren's potential anger now, doesn't it? Where is Eren? He was in front of Grisha a moment ago, but I can't see him now. I'm a doctor who saves people. Eren literally looking down at Grisha, but is it with pity or anger? What are you doing? Stand, Dad. Yep, it is 100% confirmed, without a doubt. I mean, it was already confirmed pretty much by that earlier look Grisha gave, but now it's all but confirmed that they are communicating. Have you forgotten? Fucking hell. Only Eren could fucking go back in time and give his own dad a goddamn pep talk. This fucking madman. Holy shit. His influence knows no bounds. It's actually mental. His desire to be free is so goddamn powerful that he can even go into the fucking past and be like, Dad, stop being a bitch, be free. It's almost humorous in how insane it is. I love it, but it's crazy. It's payback, right? For your little sister who got eaten by dogs. And Zeke, hey, for the comrades, for the restoration, for Dina, we need to keep moving forward to avenge them. For Kruger, even if we die, even after we die. Oh, this is awesome. This is actually awesome. This is the story you started, right, Dad? The same speech that Kruger gave Grisha. Oh, wow. Yeah, and he's remembering back to his sister, and he stabs himself. Oh, wait a minute. I just noticed. Those in the top left, those are Eren's eyes, but that's the light from the Founding Titan. Those are definitely the Founding Titan's eyes right there. And yeah, full panel spread of him finishing the job. God, that's brutal. Oh, God, look at that. The mother's still alive as well. That's actually awful. That's actually awful. God damn. Wow. That actually looks awesome. That looks like a feminine hand. It looks like a woman. Perhaps the original Ymir? I killed even the little children. Crushed them. With this hand. The feeling of my hand. Everyone except the father, is this okay? Are you happy with this? Jesus. Oh, wait a minute, of course this is Historia reaching her hand down and Eren going to kiss it. That's what this is, of course, yeah. Zeke. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. And Zeke's looking down. In the future, your wish won't come true. The one that will come true is Eren's, Grisha says. And it is Eren kissing Historia's hand. What? What are you saying? I saw Eren's future memories, but to think that for such a terrifying thing like that to happen. Oh, God. That's scary. That's really scary. I'm sorry. I was a terrible father. I've made you suffer always. Yeah, and Zeke is walking towards him. I feel like this is not going to turn out well. Like, this is kind of creepy, I'm not going to lie. This is with Eren just standing there with his dark eyes. Huh? And Grisha hugs him. Zeke, I love you. I wish we could have spent more time together. Dad? Zeke? Stop. Eren. No. Oh my God. So, is Grisha's telling Zeke to stop Eren? Dad? Zeke, stop Eren. And is that what Eren foresaw when he kissed Zeke's hand? Historia's hand. Holy shit. So right from the get-go, Eren knew that this moment would come where Grisha would tell Zeke to stop Eren, which would explain the dark looks he's been giving. But that's also worrying because it means Eren already will have a plan for this moment. So it's not like Zeke is suddenly going to turn the tables and save the day, is it? Because Eren already knew this was going to happen. So it's not like he's going to be like, well, I already saw this, but I left myself completely unprepared because, that's fun. That's not going to happen. And Eren is still chained up, T-posing dominance over Zeke. And Zeke collapses backwards. He seems more muscular than last chapter. Last chapter he seemed kind of malnourished. Now it looks like he's a little bit more, a little bit stronger. That could just be the angle. I've got this path here now. God damn, fucking 5D chess over here. I saw it 4 years ago, through Father's memories. I saw my memories from the future. That scenery. Oh shit, what scenery? That scenery. And he looks kind of at peace saying that. And Zeke looks like he's getting angry. Founder Ymir. Take away from all of Ymir's subjects their ability to reproduce, he's yelling. Okay, so Zeke does still have control over her. Yeah. Huh? The coordinate. Grisha, he told me to stop you. That he regrets having followed you. And Eren's trying to pull himself out. I don't know what future you might have seen in Father's memories, but... Yeah, this is Eren yelling, is it? Oh no, it would be Grisha, yeah. I mean, it would be Zeke. I don't know what future you might have seen in Father's memories, but you must not have seen it all, right? Like, how you didn't know you couldn't use the Founders Titans here. You are still helpless. And he's gonna rip his hand off by the looks of it. Yeah. Yeah, he ripped his thumb off. And Eren is running. It's useless Eren. Oh shit, this is going to be an interesting final. The final panel is either going to be in Grisha's... Why do I keep mixing up the name? It's either going to be in Zeke's favour or Eren's favour, and I'm not sure which one I'd prefer in terms of a cliffhanger. This is awesome, though. This is straight out of Berserk, this. Like, tearing off your own, like, body parts to try and fucking get to your goal. It's useless, Eren. No one in this world has been capable of stopping the Founder Ymir once she moves. Towards ruin she moves. Oh. Wow. That was an awesome chapter. Oh, kind of difficult to wrap my head around because I'm a little tired, and also slightly off translations, and just a whole bunch of stuff coming together. Wow, that was really interesting. So, you're already 9 years old, huh? So this carries on straight after the last chapter, with Eren and Zeke continuing on through the memories. Grisha loves you, and is raising you freely. You were never brainwashed by your father. Yeah. Zeke's realising that Eren isn't what he thought he was. Pretty straightforward. And I'm sure this has been mentioned 100 times, but of course Eren wearing all black except for his shirt, with completely black hair, and then Grisha, and then Zeke with the white hair and light white clothing. It's a very obvious parallel, but it is still a parallel, obvious or not, so I still want to mention it. Also, Zeke looks like Jesus. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in my last chapter reaction, but he does. You were never, yeah. And that's why I said it's useless. No matter how many years I spend wandering within my father's memories. If that's the case, why did you betray me? You inherited the Titan without being told anything by father, and yet you still continue to fight along the lines of his wishes. It should be noticed that when I read the chapter last night, I kind of got a little confused because, as I was saying, I was quite tired and not in the best mood, and the slightly off translations did at times cause things to get quite confusing, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to kind of like clear out everything and make sure I understand what the hell's going on. Then why did you refuse to fight? Yep. It's interesting. I can't tell if Eren is just taking his sweet-ass time with answering, or whether he actually has to think about why he did it. I can't imagine he does, but he does seem, yeah. Ever since I've been born, I've been me. Yep. Future memories. What's being pursued is freedom. I love freedom in quotation marks. That is either completely meaningless or very, very, very meaningful. Because either it's completely arbitrary that they've put freedom in quotation marks, or it's meant to be foreshadowing that the freedom Eren seeks isn't truly freedom, or it is his own interpretation of freedom, which might not be what a lot of people want it to be. You know what I mean? So either way, the fact that freedom is put in quotation marks there is very interesting. And also it's interesting that Zeke and Grisha both have the same reaction. They both look completely shocked by this. We'll see throughout this chapter that Zeke and Grisha's feelings begin to align more and more, because this chapter seems to be very much about Zeke moving away from Eren and going back to Grisha. Because a lot of people assume that as Zeke learned the truth about his father, he would, because of that, begin to align himself more with Eren as his own brainwashing became undone, his own narrow mind became wider. But actually it's ended up being completely different. As Zeke learned more about his father, whether Eren intended it or not, it actually ended up pushing Zeke more away from Eren, which is not what I was expecting to happen. There are lots of things I thought might happen, but that wasn't one of them. I used to think I was the same. So, ever since I was born, I've been me. I used to think you were the same as I, but I was wrong. So, it's difficult to tell whether it is Eren or Zeke saying this, but considering this is all part of Eren's speech, we're going to assume that it's Eren unless it becomes very obvious that it's not. Which means that he used to think that Zeke was the same as him. So when he first met Zeke, or when he first tried to contact Zeke, he believed that Zeke would be the same as him, a person who sought freedom above all else and was his own person. If other people are going to steal my freedom, I'm going to steal theirs. And I almost feel like this whole chapter, and maybe this is just my interpretation of things, but I really do feel like this whole chapter is setting up for Eren to be the bad guy. And I don't know, because it's difficult. I'm not talking from a storytelling perspective. I mean, from the perspective of a fan reading it. On the one hand, I want to say, this is setting up for Eren to be the bad guy. But on the other hand, it's also just as easy to say that this is all misdirection, and there will be a twist at the end where Eren was the good guy all along, And you see all kinds of people saying, why do you think Eren's the bad guy? He's obviously got a plan in mind. He's obviously going to do, he's obviously trying to save everyone. And it's like, I can't necessarily say they're wrong, but it's like everything seems to be pointing towards Eren being the bad guy. But something in my gut tells me that that's incorrect. But I don't know whether that's because it actually makes sense for that to be incorrect, or if it's just because I like Eren and don't want him to be the bad guy, I'm not sure which it is. So, all I'm going to say is, everything seems to be pointing towards Eren being the bad guy, but because Isayama likes his twists, I wouldn't be surprised if he turned out to be the good guy. That's a good way of phrasing it. I'm expecting him to be the bad guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if I was wrong about that. I think that's a good way of phrasing it. Or at the very least, he might not be the bad guy in the grand scheme of things, but he might be the bad guy to us, if that makes sense. So when you take the grand scheme of things into account, he might do the good thing, the right thing, for the long term, but we only get to see the short term, so to us he might appear as a villain. Yeah. And here Eren is explaining to Zeke the weak, damaged little brother he wanted to have, who would, see eye to eye and understand him, doesn't exist. Now this is a line that confused me. The only person who can be found here is a man who can vow his confidence only by continuing to deny his father's desire to restore Eldia. A pathetic man who was a slave to his dead father. I am still confused as to whether or not he's talking about himself or Zeke here. Because it seems very strange for Eren to describe himself as a pathetic man who is a slave to his dead father. That would definitely seem like how he would describe Zeke, right? But there's no indication that he's actually talking about Zeke, It's kind of, maybe, I'm not sure if it's actually I'm not sure if this is my fault or the fault of the translations or the fault of the composition of the page. Maybe I'm just a complete moron. But it's just, I'm finding it, right now and last night, I still find it difficult to tell whether he's talking about himself or Zeke here. Because it would make sense either way, but it's difficult to tell in my opinion. But this is Zeke talking. Yeah. So here he's either saying that Eren should be thankful to his father because it was Eren's desire to go against his father's wishes to restore Eldia that allowed him to get to where he is today. Or, if Eren is talking about Zeke, then Zeke would be talking about himself, saying that he should be thankful. He's kind of realizing that maybe he should be thankful for Grisha in a weird way, because it was Grisha's overbearing, method of parenting that allowed Zeke to rebel and come up with his euthanasia plan, you know? Again, either way makes sense. Either way would be perfectly alright. It just depends. And then we get an interesting shot of Eren looking down at him putting the scarf on Mikasa. Although he does not look... That's not like a happy, reminiscent look, is it? He kind of looks sad, you know? Either the two main ways of interpreting this are, one, that he is sad because he's looking back at his childhood and wishes he could, you know, get those days back. Or, alternatively, he's sad because he recognises this as the moment that Mikasa kind of loses her free will. Again, either would make sense. We just kind of have to wait it out and see which one ends up being true, right? And actually, that scarf doesn't look black, does it? It looks like it's... Yeah, it looks like it's... Because in the manga the scarf is black, but that's not coloured to look black. It's coloured more to look grey or red, perhaps. But that could just be... It's probably just to make it stand out from the outfit, right? That's probably it. I have noticed that the hair in this chapter is drawn really well. That's just something I noticed. And then we see back. This is an interesting page. It's almost like, because you've got these very small panels surrounded by darkness, you know, almost kind of like showing them moving through time, you know, going from, you know, frame, like each period of time is a framed picture, a little snapshot of time, and they're moving between them, you know. But even still, even after all this, even after learning that Eren wasn't brainwashed, and that this is truly how Eren feels, through nothing but his own will, Zeke still doesn't want to abandon Eren, right? He still wants to quote-unquote save Eren. And also we see the allegory to Xavier and Zeke here with the two kids. I mean, the blonde kid and the older man playing catch, right? Of probably a father and son. We see, Grisha leaving his final message and looking over to Eren. So at this point, it is confirmed that it's confirmed at this point that Grisha is aware of Eren's presence. But here's the thing. Last chapter, when Grisha saw Zeke, he was shocked. But he didn't show that same kind of surprise at seeing Eren. So, either... Wouldn't that be interesting? No, that couldn't be right. I was going to suggest something along the lines of maybe it's because Eren also looked surprised that Grisha could see Zeke. You know what I mean? Like, when Grisha stood up, Zeke, are you right? Are you here? You know, Eren also looked surprised by that. So he was surprised by the fact that Grisha saw Zeke. And something I very briefly thought of just then, and as I was thinking about that, is maybe only holders of the Attack Titan can see other holders of the Attack Titan, right? Meaning that because Grisha was able to see Zeke, that means that at some point Zeke is going to have the Attack Titan within him, which would mean he would have to eat Eren. For a brief moment I thought that might be the case. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. It very well could be wrong. But the fact of the matter is we know so little about this power that I can't make any judgments. All I'm saying is that I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. Because if Grisha has the ability to see people who are in his memories, it would seem strange that Eren would be surprised upon Grisha recognizing and seeing Zeke, even though he should already know that Grisha can see them. Then again, this whole timeline is kind of confusing at this point. Like, is Eren manipulating the memories here, or has he already manipulated the memories and he's just going through the motions? This is something I'll talk more about later, but I've kind of got two ideas of what the hell's going on here, and whether or not any of my theories work kind of depends on which version of events is the true one, but we'll go into that later. And then we see Eren and Zeke going through everything. Eren as a child wanted to join the Scouts. Grisha's reaction here to Eren's desire and Eren's will is very different to how I remember it. I remember him looking quite calm. And it's actually very cleverly done. Because if you go back and watch the anime, the early episodes, I don't know if it's the same in the manga, but in the anime at least, his eyes are always covered by the gleam of his glasses. So you can never really make out what his expression is. And so, in that way, it actually makes sense for them to be able to go back and retroactively kind of change his expression, because it was kind of difficult to make out his expression in the first place. So wouldn't that be interesting if they reused the original shots from the first episode, but removed the gleam so you could see his actual eyes and his true expression when Eren is saying these things? That would be an interesting way of doing it, wouldn't it? That would be pretty cool. But Grisha, this is not a face of like, ooh, I'm so happy that my son is ready. He's either coming to the realization that the time has come and he's like sad about that, hence the look, or he is perhaps frightened because he doesn't want Eren to go down the path that he thinks Eren is going down. If at this point in time Grisha is already aware of the future Eren has in mind and he doesn't want that future to happen, then it's possible that maybe Grisha has been trying to subtly influence Eren away from that path, you know, and Eren making this speech is making Grisha realise that that's all completely futile and that he doesn't have the ability to change the course Eren is going to take. Again, the timeline as to when Grisha finds out the stuff that he knows is a little difficult. And this is an awesome shot as well. This is another really cool callback. Oh, this is so cool. The way Grisha is looking directly at future Eren. It's interesting that Eren can't see himself, though. Because here's what I'm thinking, right? And I think this actually makes a lot of sense. Oh, no, it doesn't anymore. Just a second. Okay, so here's what I was going to say. Eren can see... But here's the thing, can Eren not see himself? That's the thing, can Eren not see himself? Because since he holds the attack titan, he should be able to see Eren, as in future Eren. But... perhaps it's only the person whose memories you're venturing into that can see you. But then we saw in last chapter that baby Eren seemed to notice future Eren and Zeke in the background a couple times, right? Unless... it's difficult. I don't know. I think that's the easiest way to put it. I don't know. Oh, and look at this shot here. This is almost very symbolic. Because you've got Eren on the right and Grisha on the left and child Eren in the middle. And Grisha and Eren both want different things from child Eren, right? Adult Eren wants to pull child Eren down this path that will lead to his eventual goal. Whereas Grisha, assuming he already knows about the future, potentially wants to prevent that from happening because he doesn't want the future Eren foresees from happening, to happen, I mean. In which case this could be very symbolic of the two of them kind of battling over who gets to take child Eren and mold him into what they want. That does raise questions about how the fuck the timeline works, and that's something I'll get into later. Because when you get into time travel, you create all these fucking problems, and... like, I'm gonna have to talk about them eventually, right? But basically, without going too much into it, it's basically... no, I'll go into it later. And then we see Grisha giving one last look to his family. and walking off down a darker path, as we see his face going from lit up to completely dark. The only source of light coming from behind him as his face is in darkness, literally walking away. Oh, this is so sad, because Grisha will know that he's walking to his death. God, Grisha's such a sad character, isn't he? Man, it's so... God. Fuck. Oh, Jesus. Is Grisha the most tragic character in this story? Because you look at characters like, Eren and Zeke and Reiner and characters like them, and you could make reasonable arguments that they had worse lives, or better lives. When it comes to how bad someone's life is, that's kind of subjective depending on how you view certain things. Like, do you view the death of a family member as being worse than growing to hate a family member? Or, what's your perspective on all these things? So in terms of who had a worse life, I'm sure it could be debated. But, at least characters like Eren and Zeke and Reiner, their stories haven't ended yet, They still have the potential to have a happy ending to their story, Grisha don't have that. Grisha's fucking dead. He died in a horrible way as well. So, he might be the most tragic character in the story. Oh, poor guy. Poor guy. And it's not even his fault, is it? Because it's kind of revealed later this chapter that Eren was the one manipulating things behind the scenes. So you can't even really use the excuse of, well, it was Grisha's fault because he's the one who started this whole story to begin with. Because it's heavily hinted that Eren is the one who started this story in the first place. And yet, then we get this really amazing scene. I love that Isayama keeps going back to this one conversation and showing more and more of it. That's such an interesting writing technique, to have this one scene, this one individual key moment, and every now and then you just get little drops of a little bit more of what happened in that scene, and it fills up so much more of the story. I just love that. It's great. It's kind of like, if you imagine Attack on Titan as being one big mystery box, this conversation is kind of like a mini mystery box within the mystery box, And we see the Rodoris in the back there. Yeah. And this time we see Frieda's side of the conversation. We must not run from our sins, subjects to be made, judgment has come. I love this line so much, but we'll get to that. So here Frieda is basically arguing that when given the power of the Titans, the humans abuse it. Humans are weak-minded, and so long as the power of the Titans continues to fall into the hands of weak people, it will continue to be abused by them. And so our only choice is to allow the Eldians to be wiped out, so that this power can no longer be used. And in this amazing line, this absolutely amazing line, I feel like I get along with that girl. That's such a brilliant line. It's like fan service as well, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I talked about this in my reaction, so I shouldn't go over it more, but it's just... Oh, it's such a great line. That might be one of my favourite lines in the whole manga, just because it's fucking hilarious and ironic, and I love it. And it shows that Isayama has a sense of self-awareness in his writing. Yeah. And here, I love the phrasing of this question, because when Zeke was talking to Eren in that flashback, he asked about how Eren felt when he saw Grisha kill the children. And Zeke said, God damn, why am I getting the names mixed up so much? And Grisha... And Eren said that he felt immense disappointment and anger towards his father's actions at that moment. And of course, at the time, we thought that that was a lie and that he didn't feel anger and disappointment towards his father killing the children. And here Zeke asks the question again. You said that you've seen this memory before, haven't you? And that you felt a deep sense of disappointment towards your father. Was that also a lie? But the way he phrases the question, he's not asking whether he felt disappointment towards his father killing the children. He just asked if Eren felt disappointment in general with his father. Which, of course, that's not necessarily what he meant when he asked the question. But that is still how he asked the question, so it's a nice way of phrasing it that kind of opens up a lot of doors, if that makes sense, in regards to Eren's character and how he feels about Grisha. And Eren is pissed towards his father's inability to just kill this family. Oh my god, that's a weird thing to say. But this is where it starts opening up strange potential weird stuff. So I think I'll go into it now. So Eren is clearly feeling very angry towards his father in this scene because his father isn't willing to kill the Reese family for the sake of the greater good. And that causes Eren to experience immense disappointment and anger towards his father, right? But it's hinted at earlier that Eren has already seen into Grisha's memories, and he has already influenced Grisha's actions, right? So it's kind of like, is Eren... Okay, if you imagine time as being... Okay, imagine time as a loop, right? You've got point A and point B. Point A is the start of the loop, point B is the end of the loop. And you've got two timelines, timeline alpha and timeline beta, right? Timeline alpha starts, things happen, it starts at point A and goes to point B. And then at point B, someone goes back in time to point A, changes a bunch of shit, and turns timeline alpha into timeline beta, right? And it's done in such a way that whenever people reach point B, they will go back in time and continue to make that same change so that timeline beta can continue to exist. You get what I mean? So they exist in a timeline in which Eren has gone back into the past to change shit so that the timeline that currently exists can happen, right? That means that we exist in timeline beta. We exist in the timeline that has already been changed by the person going back in time. Which means there has to have been an original timeline which was different from this one. Because if the timeline is always the same regardless of who people going back in time, that means there would be no reason to go back in time. So there has to have been an original timeline in which things were different that meant that Eren had to go back in time and change stuff. Unless we exist in a world in which all time exists simultaneously, and Eren going back and changing time was predetermined, and so we started off in timeline beta to begin with because time was already changed from the beginning of time. I don't know how to phrase this. It's a difficult thing to wrap your head around. Basically what I'm trying to say is if Eren changing time is a predetermined event that was always going to happen, and all time exists simultaneously, which could be possible because of the way paths work, that would potentially mean that there doesn't need to be an original timeline, because Eren changing the past was always going to happen. And by the time you get to point A, where time begins to change, since all time exists at once, Eren would have already gone to the past to change time before the timeline even reaches the point it needs to be changed. Therefore, timeline alpha would never exist in the first place. Yes, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Oh my god, my head. Okay, this is definitely something we need to think about. Time travel is always fucking complicated, man. I'm just gonna leave that for now. I hope I'm getting the point across well. If all time exists at once because of paths, then that would mean that there wouldn't necessarily need to be an original timeline, because Eren changing the past will have already happened before. So if point A is the point in which the timeline is changed, but all time exists at once, then by the time you get to point A, the timeline would have already been changed because all time exists simultaneously. I used to think a lot about time travel as a kid, which is the only reason I can try to wrap my head around this, but I don't know shit about time travel, obviously. I'm not a smart person, so I'm just talking on my ass at the moment, but I hope I'm at least making some sense, even if what I'm saying is complete bullshit. However, having families of people outside the walls be taken, the lives of people. So what Frieda is arguing here is that, Due to the situation with Eldians and Marleyans, Eldian lives have already been taken, and Eldian lives will continue to be taken. And that is inevitable. But what we can do, what we can change, is make it so that the lives of non-Eldians don't have to be taken, basically. So if Eldian lives being taken is inevitable, then why cause needless conflict and cause more people to die than is necessary, when you can just, feign ignorance, allow your people to be wiped out, and in the end it will result in less innocent people needing to die. And I'm not going to say I agree with this point of view necessarily. I think whether or not I agree with it depends on how the story progresses from this point. If Eren ends up fucking everything up and making the world just a horrible place, then I might agree with what Frieda says here. But it really does depend on how things play out, whether or not I kind of agree with Frieda's sentiment here. What I will say is, while I don't necessarily agree with her, or Zeke, or people like her who think that the Eldians just should be wiped out for the sake of a better world, I don't agree with them, but if a friend of mine were to tell me that they agree with Frieda, or that they agree with Zeke, I wouldn't think that they're idiots. That's what I'm saying. I don't think... Because that's the thing, you can disagree with a plan without thinking it's stupid. Like, a lot of people say that Zeke's euthanasia plan is completely stupid. I don't think it is stupid. I think Zeke's euthanasia plan would work, and it would save the world and solve all the issues. It's not a matter of if it would work, it's a matter of if it's the plan we actually want to do, Is there not a better option? And so what I'm trying to say is, while I don't currently agree with Frieda or Zeke's plans, if someone were to tell me that they did, I wouldn't necessarily think less of them for that. I think it's a reasonable opinion to have, even if it's not one that I share. And Eren is fucking pissed as hell. It's difficult to tell the difference between Eren and Frieda sometimes, but let me look. Frieda does appear to have Historia's eyes. She does have Historia's eyes, doesn't she? She has that same straight upper eyelid and a lower eyelid that curves upwards to meet it, which is actually the same eyes that Eren has, now that I think about it. Although his eyes are slightly different from Historia's. Trying to persuade me is useless. Very similar to what Eren said to Zeke. I got it. The fact that I cannot use the power of the Founding Titan. That's very interesting. Because this lends more credence to the idea that Grisha already knew about all the future stuff before this point. Right? But here's the thing. What you've got to remember is that Kruger didn't tell Grisha about this. Kruger's plan was for Grisha to go in there, steal the Founding Titan's power, and use it himself. Basically, that was his plan. Right? That was the plan that Kruger gave to Grisha. Which means that Kruger didn't tell Grisha about the vow renouncing war. I don't even think Kruger knew about the vow renouncing war. Right? So as far as we're aware, Grisha couldn't have learned this from Kruger. Meaning Grisha has to have learned this from Eren. Which means it's possible that in this moment, Eren is telling Grisha this information right now through some kind of mindfuckery. But I think it's safer to assume that Grisha was already aware of this before this point. Which again raises the question of when did Grisha learn all of this stuff? Because that's still something I think it either needs to be explained, or it needs to be explained why it doesn't need to be explained. You get what I mean? You get what I mean? Like, it's finding out when Grisha learned all this stuff. It either needs to be established when he learned this stuff, or the story needs to be written in a way where the time at which he learned this stuff doesn't matter. I don't mind which, but I would like for one of the two to be the case, because right now I'm just kind of a little confused as to what the fuck's going on. And those are definitely Frieda's eyes, that's no mistaking. It's Frieda's eyes, alright. Yeah, and here we get an official explanation of the Attack Titan's power. The Attack Titan has not obeyed anybody, presumably including the Founding Titan and the Founding Titan's power, which would explain why Frieda couldn't use the Founding Titan's power to stop Grisha. Yeah, it was all in order to fight against the king's self-righteousness. That's right, for this moment, everybody was led by these memories. Is Grisha talking about Eren's memories here, or is he talking merely about the ability to see into the future just as a whole? Because that's an important question. Is Grisha specifically saying that it was Eren's memories that have led all the past Attack Titans? Or is he merely saying that it was the ability to see into future memories in general that has driven them? And yep, the Attack Titan has the ability to see into the future. Again, something we already pretty much knew, but it's nice to see it confirmed regardless. So, this is another line that confused me. I also know that you were not aware of this. The power of the Founding Titan cannot be fully utilised due to the power of announcing wars. Remember the royal family, that goes for you too. Is he saying that Frieda wasn't aware that she couldn't use the power? Or is he saying that Frieda wasn't aware of the Attack Titan's future vision ability? It's because all three of those speech bubbles are within the same panel. It implies he's talking about the Founding Titan's vow of renouncing war. But then why would Frieda not know about the limitations of her own power? It would make more sense for her to not know about the Attack Titan's power. Yep. Grisha's preparing to kill the family. This is the thing, right, about the Reese family. I think a lot of people will completely remove themselves from having any sympathy towards people they feel need to be killed, quote unquote. So there's lots of people who just don't give a shit about the Reese family, like, whatever, they need to die, who cares? But like, I can't have that perspective. No matter how hard I try, I can't help but feel really bad for the Reese family. Like, these are just kids. These are just innocent kids who didn't know any better, right? Like I can't be happy that they died. Like, yeah, they were part of the Reese family, so what, they deserve to die because they happened to be born into this family? Like, yeah, that's fair. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to argue. It's like, just because you recognise that someone needed to die doesn't mean you have to act like you have no sympathy. Like, oh, I missed a tough guy over here. I don't have sympathy towards these people, you know? Like, people like, oh, you know, I really feel bad for the Reese family, and there's always some person like, oh, well, they needed to die. It's like, yeah, that doesn't mean, like, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can recognise that they needed to die, while also recognising that it's really sad what happened to them. They're not mutually exclusive things, you know? And I just, you know, I'm just ranting at this point. And Frieda prepares to transform, but of course, another really interesting moment, Grisha drops the knife and refuses to fight. And we see Zeke learning more about Grisha, you know, Grisha unwilling to take the lives of children for the sake of his goal, you know, completely different to what Zeke viewed him as. Zeke viewed him as almost a heartless monster who just was willing to do anything to achieve his goals, but here his view of Grisha is being shattered more and more and more. This is going to be so amazing when it's animated, man. I cannot wait for this to be animated. It's going to be so great. Oh. I'm a doctor who saves people. Foolish. I don't think Zeke is actually saying foolish here. It seems like a weird thing for her to say. Grisha definitely stole the Founding and annihilated, yeah. So, and this is it. There's no way that the past could change. That's the line that really confuses me. So Zeke is saying, how could this be? There's no way that the past could change. Is he correct and there is no way the past could change, or is he wrong? Because right now, Eren kneels down and convinces Grisha to go through with his plan, right? So my question is this the moment that Eren changes the past? Like, was the past originally that Grisha gave up and didn't kill the family, but then Eren came back in time here and convinced Grisha to do otherwise, and as a result, this is the moment we are witnessing right now, the moment Eren changes the past? Or was this past always going to happen? Or was this past always going to happen, and we're going with the idea that I went with a minute ago, where even though the past has been changed, because these times all kind of exist simultaneously due to weird path stuff, the timeline had already been changed by the time we got to the point where it needed to be changed in the first place. So what I'm saying is this Eren in this very moment changing the past? Or is this just Eren going through the motions that were already predetermined to happen? That's what I'm wondering. It's time travel's always kind of complicated, isn't it? And Frieda is hesitating to kill Grisha, it would seem. And Rod's like, quick, kill him, and he's totally right, Grisha needs to die here. I love this. This drawing of Grisha's face in particular is actually really well done. It looks so three-dimensional. Like, that looks straight up like a screenshot from the anime. That's just had like a drawing filter put over it. You know what I mean? It looks so three-dimensional. It's such a good drawing. That may be, and this is probably like, people are probably absolutely shocked, but this small panel of Grisha's eyes closed may be one of my favourite panels in the entire manga, because it just looks so good. It's just drawn so well. It looks like a shot from the anime that's just been turned into black and white and had a filter put on it. It looks so three-dimensional. And as someone who is like an artist in his spare time, I can't help but appreciate just how fucking really nicely drawn that is, even if it's just a tiny little panel of Grisha's eyes, you know? Ugh. And then we see Eren giving the same speech to Grisha that Kruger gave to Grisha back on the wall, perhaps being a subtle hint that those were Eren's words back then, not Kruger's. But again, that's not outright stated, but it is hinted that that might be the case. But he's giving Grisha the same pep talk that Kruger gave to him back all those years ago. It's really... I can't stress enough how impressed I am with all the callbacks and foreshadowing and all the stuff that Isayama's been doing from the beginning, but in this chapter especially, it's so amazing. So amazing done. I am very impressed. Honestly, I'm very impressed. It's just remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. Like, I can't... Like, it's funny because my main complaint with Attack on Titan back during the first couple story arcs is I thought the writing wasn't very good. I thought the dialogue was quite clunky, and I thought there were certain plot elements that were kind of not badly done, but could have been done a lot better. And now the thing I like most about it is the writing. And I'm not saying that I was wrong. I still hold by the opinions I had back then, but it's just that Isayama has improved so much as a writer. That the writing has gone from being my biggest complaint to the thing I love most about it. Like, if that's not an impressive improvement, then I don't know what is. Also, I just noticed, Eren looks absolutely terrifying in this panel. He looks like a zombie. Oh my god, that's actually scary. like, oh my god, he looks terrifying. He looks like a witch or a zombie. He actually looks terrifying in this panel. Anyway. Ugh. This is the story you started. Yep. Oh, man. This is important as well. These are definitely Eren's eyes, right? Those look like Eren's eyes to me. But they look like they're using the Founding Titan's power, right? He does have the Founding Titan power in him, obviously, but it's kind of unclear as to how and if he can use it. But if he's using the Founding Titan's power here, is this the moment he's giving Grisha the memories? Or is he using that to kind of push Grisha to follow his orders? Or is it just for dramatic effect? Like, it's difficult. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of individual things in this chapter that are kind of difficult to wrap your head around for one reason or another. And when you add in time travel and memory manipulation into all that, it becomes very complicated. Not necessarily in a bad way, but complicated nevertheless. Also, again, look at that face. That face is so well drawn. Isayama really stepped up his game with this chapter. There are so many amazing drawings in this chapter in particular. Speaking of which, oh, this is brutal. I love it. It's so awesome. Also, interesting to note, she's, never mind, actually, no, I wasn't going to say that, but, again, how could you not feel bad for this family? Like, come on. Like, even if you recognise that they needed to die, like, how can you not feel bad for this family, man? I mean, look, you've got, the little black-haired boy with his fucking, like, brain on the floor, and this girl who's been ripped in half, and this boy who's been, like, trampled on, and the mother who's just there, like, twisted up, like, trying to reach out to her children. Like, this is absolutely awful. And even if you acknowledge that it had to happen, that doesn't mean you can't feel sympathy. I mean, look, it even looks like Eren is kind of sad about it, look. Like, he's looking down at the family, and those do not look like happy eyes. He does look sad about what he had to do. So he's not like he's a completely remorseless killer, you know? Although, who knows, maybe I'm just misinterpreting it. But that, to me, that definitely looks like Eren isn't regretting what he did. He's not regretting it, but just because, you know, he's doing what I was just saying people should do, just because he recognizes that these people had to die, doesn't mean that he can't feel sorry for them and feel bad that they had to die, you know? We've got Grisha and his dad bod Titan, which I still think that might be... It's definitely... Grisha's Titan is definitely one of my favourite Titan designs. It looks fucking intimidating as hell. Oh, and then these... This moment in particular, these next few pages might be one of my favourite moments in the entire manga. So first we see Historia reaching out towards Eren in the past. So here we're seeing the point in which all these memories and timelines converge. When Eren kisses Historia's hand here, that... Ooh. Okay then. That, I think, the wind blew a door shut. That is when... Of course, all of this gets set in motion because that's when Eren gains these memories and learns what's going to happen in the future. Also, I want to point out, Grisha's hair in this panel is drawn really nicely. Like, it actually looks really good in this panel in particular as he's falling down. Anyway, I killed even the little children, crushed them with this hand, the feeling in my hand. And then we see Eren reaching out and grabbing Historia's hand. Eren! I killed the Reese family. Everyone except the father. Is this okay? Oh, I love that. I love the fact that he's like screaming to the heavens, but the fact that he didn't kill the father, if I don't scream that, maybe he won't hear it. You know? Are you happy with this? Oh, I love these pages. They're so good. With this, will Eldia really be saved? And he's looking around, and Eren won't answer him. Why won't you show me everything? The wall being destroyed. The day it'll be destroyed, if Carla will be safe. Was there really no other way? Ah. He won't even show... Eren wouldn't even show Grisha if Carla will survive the wall being broken down. So, like, it's clear that Eren was only showing Grisha what was necessary. Like, even details like if Carla will survive the wall being broke down, Eren was completely withholding even that information just to make sure that Grisha... Basically so that Grisha couldn't make his own mind up, basically. He was just completely manipulating Grisha, which, honestly, like, that is fucked, in my opinion. Like, manipulating your own dad like that, and, like, not even telling him that he's gonna go home and find that his wife is dead. Like, that is just... Like, I don't know, man, that's really bad stuff. I'm gonna be honest, that's like straight up villain territory. I'm not gonna lie. That is straight up villain territory in my opinion. Like, even if it was necessary, it's difficult to justify in my mind. Was there really no other way? You're there, aren't you, Zeke? In the future, your wish won't come true. The one that will come true is Eren's. Yeah, and Zeke's standing there looking at his father. And this is the moment where Eren's about to kiss Historia's hand. What are you saying? I saw Eren's future memories, but to think that for a terrifying thing like that to happen. Oh god, this is so scary. It's so freaky. Zeke, is that you? You grew up so much. Oh, this is so nice. This moment has to be one of my favourite moments in the manga. And Eren is just standing there. Eren is such a goddamn villain at the moment. Like, again, I'm 100% open to the possibility that he could be the hero, and that this could all just be misdirection. I'm not blind to that, and I'm not against that either. I'm 100% okay and willing to accept that he could be the hero still. All I'm saying is that it's very difficult for me to feel that way with all this stuff going down. You know, it's just, I can't help but feel like he's not the good guy anymore, even though my gut is telling me that that has to be wrong, that he has to still be the good guy. It's Eren, you know, he has to be the good guy. You know, even though that's what my gut is telling me, I can't help but feel like, I don't know, it's just difficult. Huh? And he grabs such a great moment. Zeke, I love you. I wish we could have spent more time together. Dad, Zeke finally acknowledging Grisha as his father. Zeke, stop Eren. Oh, that is so... Oh. And then that's the moment Eren sees all this. So from this moment, Eren knew that Zeke would be going against him. So from this moment, Eren knew what was going to happen. I'm definitely going to have to rewatch those last couple of episodes with that in mind, because that's very interesting information. I know that I've done less analysing and more. It's almost been like a pseudo reaction here, but that's because I didn't think my actual reaction was particularly great, so I kind of want to make up with that by getting my thoughts out on the table. So it looks as though Zeke pushes himself away here and falls to the ground. You still haven't seen when Dad got eaten by me, Eren says. So it's almost like Zeke intentionally left the memory then because he didn't want to see his dad getting eaten. So at this point, Zeke has presumably forgiven Grisha and accepted him as his father again. And is now against Eren. You made it so that Dad, yep, again he's referring to him as Dad, would fight against the King of the Walls and the world. Is that what you did? Yep. If the Attack Titan really has the ability to surpass time, it will be possible to influence the past by only showing Grisha memories convenient for you. Grisha was hesitating over his duty as a restorationist because, having seen your memories, he knew that if he stole the founding, he would be unable to use the power, but he was made to steal the founding by you, because he saw the future. Saw something in the future that you showed him. I'm grateful for you, brother. Thanks to you bringing me inside Father's memories, I've got this path here now. Not my wish, but your wish will come true. That's what he said. Yeah. I saw it 4 years ago, through Father's memories. I saw my memories from the future. Dog's going mental. I saw my memories from the future. This is an important thing. He says that he saw his memories of the future through his dad's memories. So he didn't see his own future memories. He saw his dad's memories from the past. But because his dad met with Eren in the future, he was able to see his own future memories because his dad in the past met with him in the future. This is some seriously complicated time travel stuff. So Eren didn't look into the future. Rather, he in the future went back into the past to show Grisha stuff from the future so that when he in the past looked further into the past, he would see the future. That is some absolutely mental stuff. I love it. I'm not going to say that that's the most complicated time travel thing I've ever seen, because I'm sure there are plenty of amazing time travel movies out there that I'm not aware of, but like that is one of the most awesome ways I've seen time travel being used. Like the idea of going back in time in the future to the past to tell someone something from your present so that you in the past can go further into the past to see what's going to happen in the future from your past future self. That is some amazingly written stuff. Founder Ymir. Take away from all subjects of Ymir their ability to reproduce. As we see, Eren, as I said, this is something I said back in my reaction to the last chapter, Eren doesn't know everything. Eren clearly knows more than he's letting on, but he's not some all-knowing being who knows everything there is to know. He clearly was taken aback by Zeke's words here, and he doesn't have all the answers. He knows more than we know, and he probably knows more than we think he knows, but he doesn't know everything. The coordinates, yeah? Grisha, he told me to stop you, that he regrets having followed you, Zeke says. Oh, I don't know what future you might have seen in Father's memories, but you must not have seen it all, right? Like, how you didn't know you couldn't use the Founder's power. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Zeke is saying what I'm saying. Eren knows more than he's letting on, but he doesn't know everything. You are still helpless. And he does some straight up fucking berserk guts stuff here and rips his own, like, thumb off. It's useless, Eren. No one in this world has been capable of stopping the Founder Ymir once she moves. Towards ruin she moves. This is an awesome chapter. Absolutely awesome. And this was an awesome chapter. Amazingly well written. Some really cool time travel concepts. Awesome foreshadowing all the way back to like chapter 1. This is the stuff I watch Attack on Titan for, and I read Attack on Titan for. This is Attack on Titan at its best, in my opinion. These past like 3 or 4 chapters have been Attack on Titan at its best. I cannot wait for this to be animated. It's going to be spectacular. Oh, if I were to give this chapter a score, and I guess I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I don't know. I don't do scores because I always feel like, I don't know. Oh, so that was my review. I'll probably throw bits of my original reaction in there as well. My lord, this is a solid chapter, and I cannot wait to see what happens after this. This is top-notch writing. And even though I was confused at some point, I'm not going to say that that's the manga's fault, because this is a fan translation, so it's always possible that, it's the fan translation's fault, not the manga. So I'm not going to blame anything on the manga until the official translation comes out. And even then, at the end of the day, I'm the one who's confused. I might be alone on that. I might just be being a bit of an idiot. So, sorry I couldn't get a full reaction out to this one, and sorry it's so late. I wish I could have gotten this out way earlier. I'm not going to get thousands of views on this one, but whatever. Like I said, I prioritize quality over quantity in terms of having good videos rather than videos that get loads of views. So, even though this video won't be my most popular and successful one, I'm happy that it's better than it could have been if I was too focused on just getting views. So, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video, leave a dislike if you didn't, it's all cool, and hopefully, see you next time.